Welcome to RTA Connect 2019. See, I had to get quiet there. Just bring it down, bring it in a little bit. I want to welcome you guys out to conference this year. It really means a lot to us that you're all here. I want to thank you for coming. First, I want to talk a little bit about our theme this year, what it means to make a positive impact. We kind of talked about this a little bit last night at the fireside chat, but we sat around, we're coming up with why do we do what we do, and a little bit about why we do what we do, because we want to make a positive impact in the communities that we serve. Specifically, we want to help you make a positive impact this year at Connect, in your jobs, in your homes, and in the communities that you serve. We kind of sat down last year. We were coming up with our mission statement. We had a fairly long mission statement, but the core of that was making a positive impact in the lives that we touch. So we really wanted to be able to share that with you, share that with each of you, and help you extend that mission and help you kind of take that positive impact and make an impact of your own. The words behind that are a little bit meaningful. It's not enough just to make a difference in somebody's life. We really wanted to be intentional about that, that it's not enough just to make a difference, but we wanted to make a positive impact. There's strength in that word, there's power in that word. We wanted to make an emotional impact. We want to make a connection with that. We wanted you to be able to make that impact, whether it's the small, simple things, holding a door open for somebody, helping them with their luggage maybe at the airport, or if any of you have had the honor or the absolute privilege to maybe help save somebody's life. It could be something as simple as just mentoring somebody at work, finding somebody and helping them get to where they want to go. So with that, we wanted to really help drive home that message, drive home making a positive impact, and understanding what that meant. First, as we kind of looked at this, one of the things that we discovered was that a lot of people start with what they do. In fact, we read a book called Start With Why from Simon Sinek. And a lot of times he says that companies focus on what they do. People do the same thing. They focus on what they do, and then they build out to, well, how are we going to do what we want to do? And then the last thing they look at is why they do that. So they kind of have a little bit backwards. They start with what they want to accomplish, how they're going to do it, and then why they're doing it is kind of the second thought. But it's a flawed way of thinking. It starts from the inside out, or the outside in, I should say, instead of the inside out. So instead, he suggests that we want to start with our why. We want to start with why we do what we do, and then we're going to define how are we going to accomplish why we want to do something, and through that, we'll define what it is that we do. I'll give you an example that he gives in his book. A long time ago, everybody remembers kind of the story of how aviation started. Anybody ever hear of a gentleman by the name of Samuel Langley? I didn't think so. Not many people did. I've got one hand in the back. So Samuel Langley was an astronomer, a physicist, late 1800s. Was very into astronomy, and one of his claims to fame was that he was able to create one of the first standardized time systems. Using astronomy, using his telescope, he was able to precisely measure when noon was, and then set about communicating that to all the railway stations over telegraph lines. In fact, by the time he was done, his centralized time system was communicated across 4,000 miles of telegraph lines. Obviously, you can understand the confusion if train stations are running on different times. He really helped get trains running on time. That was one of his original contributions. But he did that not to help the trains run on time, but instead so that he could help fund his observatory. Right? And so he was able to use that funding to help further his observatory until about 1883, I want to say. And the U.S. Naval Observatory got up and running and started offering that service for free. So you can imagine what happened to Samuel Langley and his funding for his observatory went away. Fast forward a couple of years, and he becomes interested in aviation, becomes interested in flight, specifically powered manned flight. So he starts researching it, and he starts understanding it. And he's one of the first to prove that you can have a heavier-than-air aircraft powered and fly. He was the first one to introduce the principle of thrust and drag, and something called induced drag. And so he was able to contribute to this cause of aviation. He starts building models. He starts building these planes. And at the time, probably want to say probably about 1887, he's able to fly about 3,000 feet, which at the time was 10 times longer than any other aircraft had flown, which means that the other aircraft had only flown about 30 feet. So he was going 3,000 feet. It was a pretty incredible feat for his day. And then through that, he was able to secure about $50,000 in funding through the War Department and another $20,000 through the Smithsonian. And so he was out there, he was looking for investors, he was trying to get investors, and as soon as he got that investment money, he went out and then outsourced all the development of his aircraft. Outsourced the engine, outsourced the plane design, he even outsourced the test pilot. He did not want to fly this thing. Prior to that, there had been deaths in the industry. People had been researching, people who really had a passion for flying. The gliders were dangerous. They hadn't been able to figure out, a plane has 3 axes of movement. It turns left to right, it pitches up and down, and then it rolls. And nobody had figured out that last control, the roll control. And so people would end up getting up, and then they would flip over and crash. There had been several deaths, and he didn't want to be a part of that. So he hired a test pilot for that. He secures his funding. They go about, they're designing an engine. The designers can't really design the engine very well. He gets frustrated. They end up bringing it back in-house, but still just not quite getting it where it needed to be. He finally gets a prototype built in October of 1903. They launch it off of a catapult. And where they launch it is out in the Potomac. Now, the reason they launch it, he's been testing out in the Potomac, is because the winds are calmer in the Potomac. And if the winds are calm, you're less likely to flip, right? Because he hadn't figured out that last control, the roll control. He didn't want to tackle it. So instead, he was just going to prove that he could be the first for powered manned flight. So they launch the first one. It clips the catapult. It catapults into the river. The test pilot, thankfully, survives unhurt. But they have to go back to the drawing board. 2 months later, December 8th, 1903, he launches a second one, and it breaks up on the catapult. Doesn't even make it. Tumbles into the river again. Again, the test pilot, thankfully, was unhurt. He quits, gives up. This isn't possible. He doesn't want to do it. December 17th, 1903, 2 boys, bicycle shop owners, by the name Wilbur and Orville Wright, make their first flight down in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. He quit 9 days before that flight took place. Now, something interesting about the Wright brothers, they flipped a coin to figure out who would get to be the first to fly the plane. They wanted to fly. They wanted to feel what it was like to fly that plane. Their engine wasn't designed by an engineer. Their engine was designed by a shop mechanic who worked in their bicycle shop. Their engine didn't produce 50 horsepower like Langley's did. It produced 12. But they wanted to do what nobody else had done. They saw these people dying, and they figured out how to control the roll. Why? Because they wanted to fly. They weren't in it for the money, at least not at first. They wanted to make money off of it. That's why when they flew, there wasn't any press. When Langley flew, he brought all the press around. In fact, that's one of the reasons why he quit, is because he had so many people witness his failure, they started writing about it in the press. Congress was saying, why are we spending this money? Why did we give him $50,000? He had critics all around. The Wright brothers, they had one friend there to film that first flight. And then when they had more successful flights, they still only had a couple people there to witness it. You get down to this point of why did they do what they did? They wanted to fly. They wanted to feel that feeling. After Langley quit, the Wright brothers, they had their first successful flight. Does anyone know what they did after that? They kept going. They kept flying. They hadn't just accomplished what they wanted to do. They wanted to keep improving it. And again, because they started with their why. Langley's why was he wanted to fund other projects. He wanted to be a part of history. He wanted to be famous. They wanted to fly. Their why was aligned with what they did purely. And that's when we sit down, we talk about making a positive impact. we want to make sure that as we look at it, our why is aligned completely with what we do and how we do it. This year we're celebrating our 40th anniversary here at RTA, which is a huge accomplishment in and of itself, and a lot of that is thanks to you guys. So a quick round of applause. Thank you for your support over these 40 years. We wanted to make sure that no matter what the circumstance was over these 40 years, that we were able to help lift people up around us, that we were able to help bring some difference into your lives. I was fortunate enough to grow up in the customer service department, and so every time that I was able to help somebody on the phone, every time I was able to talk and have that conversation and leave knowing that I helped brighten somebody's day, that I helped solve a problem they were facing, nothing gave me greater satisfaction than being able to do that. And so as we've grown, as the company has changed over the years, you've seen that that has been a core tenet of what we do. We're here to make a positive impact in people's lives. You know, we do that through great customer service. We do it through great technology. But the ultimate meaning behind it all is that we want to make a positive impact. I'll leave you with one last quote here. What you do will change. Throughout your life, things are going to change. It's the one constant in life, is that things change. What you do changes, but why you do shouldn't. What you do changes, but why you do it shouldn't. You think about that and realize that as you've moved through your careers, there's always probably been a constant motivating factor behind why you're doing what you're doing. What you do changes, but why you do shouldn't. Thank you guys for all being here. I really do appreciate everybody coming out. And at this time, I want to welcome to the stage one of my dear friends. He's been with us 26 years and really has been a mentor, almost a father figure to me. Please welcome Mr. Go RTA, Jan Smith.
Yo, go RTA! Thank you very much. I enjoy conference. You enjoy conference? I enjoy conference. So in talking about conference, what I want to do is I want to talk here briefly about what we can expect this week. So in talking about what we can expect this week, some of you have been here for the past 2 days. You've gone into training. And part of the training is some of the things you've learned, some best practices. These are things that you'll take back with you to your organization. And by applying those best practices, you're going to increase the productivity, your organization's productivity, and the capability of the RTA software to help your organization. In the next 3 days, what we're going to talk about here is the same thing. We're going to have short mini classes to talk about, give you some ideas of what you can do. We're going to talk about keynotes. We've got some people here, some great minds here, who can really help you understand how to be better, how to make that positive impact. You're going to have new ideas. And these new ideas are things you're going to take back and say, this is what I want to try with RTA. But I want you to promise me one thing. You won't try to take everything back. Make a list of things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and start with that first thing. So this year, I want to implement barcoding, or I want to implement paperless shop, or I want to implement paperless driver inspections or driver reports. Make a list of those things. And then, as we talked about last night a little bit in the CEO fireside, Josh talked about holding yourself accountable. Put it somewhere. Put that list somewhere, that first thing. Put it on your computer terminal. Put it on your desk. Put it on your mirror at home so you see it first thing in the morning. That's what I tell my Boy Scouts. If you want to be an Eagle Scout, put it on the mirror so you see it every morning when you're combing that beautiful hair. So you have that. So these new ideas, write them down. Just don't try to do everything. One of the things we've incorporated this year with our conference is the mobile app. And I hope you're all using it. It's helped me. Like I say, Lene, thank you very much. And Mary, they worked on this. And this mobile app has the schedule. So if you want to know what classes there are today, here's what's going on today, the event tonight. If you know what ones you want to go to, you check it. You hit it on the right-hand side, and it puts it on your schedule. There's dining ideas. If you're looking for somewhere to eat, some great dining ideas. There's transportation. There's maps. The Wi-Fi password, if you want to use the Wi-Fi. So the mobile event, use it. In there's some great options. We're going to talk about a couple more. Expand your peer contact list. Many of you who have been attending conference, you're used to the manuals. In the back of the manual, we have a list of everyone who is coming, is at conference. Well, we have that. It's all right here. But we put it for you so that you have great capability. You can make connections with those people. You can put notes down. Hey, I sat by this person at lunch, and they talked about how they use paperless shop. Here's a contact I can use. It's all right here where you can make new contacts. So expand your peer contact list. Now, I want to help you expand your peer contact list. Where you're sitting right now, I want you to look over to your right-hand side. I want you to reach out. I want you to shake that person's hand. Even if they're a few chairs away, reach over and shake their hand and introduce yourself. Now, turn to your left-hand side. See that person there? Shake their hand and introduce yourself. You've now made a new friend. You've expanded your peer contact list. And when we get to lunch today, or we get to the activity tonight, you have someone you can look at and say, hey, I sat by you today at the keynote speaker. Okay? It's all about expanding your peer network. These ideas, all of conference is about making that positive impact. Having fun, bringing those new ideas back to your company. And there's one thing I really like about conference. Everybody probably knows what that is if you've been around me. I like to yell, I like to talk, and one of the favorite things I like to say is, let's hear it loud and proud. 1, 2, 3, go RTA! Great. Appreciate that. So as you see me, as you hear me, and I hear it, we got back from Disney Springs. We went over to eat last night and walked through the hotel, and I hear, go RTA! I love it. I enjoy it. Thank you very much. It really is a battle cry. Go RTA. Use it. Apply it. There are so many things. I want to tell you about some of those things in just 1 minute. First, let's talk about who's here at conference. If this is your first year at conference, if this is your first RTA conference, doesn't matter how long you've been using the software, if this is your first year at conference, I want you to stand up. Come on. Stand up. Stay standing. Look around. Look around at those who are standing. These are people who are in your same situation. It's their first time. They're a little bit lost. They're still trying to find their way, even though they've been using RTA. They may have been using RTA 10 years, 5 years, whatever it is. It's your first year. And I'd like to point out some of my special friends here. First off, right over here, I have Michael Sweeney and Rajan George from Carroll ISD. Still haven't purchased the software. They're looking at it, but they wanted to come and see what this is all about. So if you'll help me in welcoming them and you see them, raise your hands, guys. All right. Take the opportunity to talk to them. Explain to them what you feel about RTA. Also, Willie, you're back over there. Raise your hand. Go ahead. Stay standing for just a minute, folks. Willie is from the Alabama Department of Transportation. Just heard about this conference, heard about the software, came down here, walked in yesterday, said, I want to know more about it. I want to attend your conference, and here he is. So thank you very much, Willie, for being here. All right. Stay standing. All right. Now everybody stand. Everybody stand. All right. Now, if you've attended 2 conferences or more, stay standing. Stay standing. 2 or more conferences, stay standing. All my first-timers, go ahead and sit down. Okay. All right. All right. Now, first-timers, you get to look around and see who's standing. These are people who have attended conference before. All right. If you've attended 5 or more conferences, stay standing. 5 or more conferences, stay standing. All right. Here we are. These people, and many of you, as I look around, are on our client advisory board. You're people who specifically help us in making our software better. You all help. But some of these people are part of our client advisory board. All right? How about 10 or more? If you've attended 10 or more conferences, stay standing. Awesome. Thank you. Okay? How about 15 or more? Few. Look around. They're here. You're all part of the RTA family, but we love you people who come back again and again. And if you look at their software, if you talk to them, they're successful. Their software is helping them. Now, go ahead and sit down. Thank you very much. Give them a big hand. Now let's turn the tables a little bit more. If you're new to RTA, if you've been using RTA for less than a year, stand up. Less than a year. Okay? Again, good group of you. Thank you. They've come. They have the software, but they want to know more about it. So they've come. Many of you have been attending 2 days of conference, all right? All right, now, everyone stand up. If nothing else, I want you to reach over and touch your hearts. So now you know you've been uplifted and your heart's been touched. Thank you very much. Stay standing. All right. If you've been using RTA 2 or more years, go ahead and sit down. Or remain standing, excuse me. 2 or more years, remain standing. 2 or more years, remain standing. 5 or more years, remain standing. 10 or more years, remain standing. 15 or more? 20 or more? 25 or more. Sorry. I guess we're pointing out a little bit of age here. All right, I fall in that category. Thanks, Eddie. Again, you've been using RTA longer than Windows has been around. Okay? All right. Congratulations. Give yourselves all a big hand. And to you I say, go RTA! All right. Now, I want to do a little bit more with you, and I want you to help understand your and broaden your peer contact list. So those of you who are with governments and municipalities, municipalities, stand up. Look around. These are people who use the software similarly to what you do. They probably have a fueling site. They have one shop, maybe multiple shops, and they use it. They're required to have those monthly reports. They have departments, maybe other facilities. All right? Very good. Go ahead and sit down. Those of you who are from school districts, stand up. School districts. We have a few, okay? There we go. Agent, Mike, look around here. Here's some school districts out here. School transportation. I shouldn't say school districts. It should be school transportation, really, okay? All right, thank you. Go ahead and sit down. How about trucking? Those of you from trucking. Okay, look around. These are the people you want to meet up with at lunch. See if where they're at their table. Sit at their lunch. Spend some time with them. Okay? See how they use the software and how it helps them. Maybe they could solve some of the issues you're having. Thank you. All right? How about transportation? Okay? A lot of transportation. Transit, okay? City busing, some type of transit. Okay, very good. Awesome, thank you. And I think we found out in our, Greg, go ahead and stand up one more second. I know we found out in our CO Fireside last night, you have electric buses coming in August. You think it's on our forefront? You think it's on our front door? It's here. August. Thank you, Greg. Okay? All right. How about those who handle freight? Okay? A little bit maybe truck transportation, but those who specifically handle freight. All right? How about utilities? Utilities. Those who are utilities. Okay? Waste management. Got a few from waste management. Thank you very much. Okay? Look around. These are the kind of people. Well, you sit down fast. And how about others? Any others that we didn't? Okay? Others? Okay? I know, Chemo, your group, striping, highway. Okay? Stephen, construction, rental equipment. Okay? Who else? Mining. Awesome. Mining. Okay? So these are people who don't fit into any other category, but yet they do that. And there's a big industry. Also right here, Very good. Okay? All right. All right. One last time I'm going to make you stand up. And then you're going to relax, and I'll talk for a minute. How about Florida? Those of you who are specifically from the Florida area, please stand. Okay? All right. When we talk about, we hear it all the time, we're from Phoenix. Vegas is so easy for us to get to. It's so easy for you to get to. San Diego is one of those places that we've said, hey, people want to go to San Diego. And then we hear it, and people say, why never you ever come east to the East Coast? Come to the East Coast. So we appreciate you people supporting us when we come here. Thank you very much. Okay? All right. How about the Southeast, all of the Southeast? Okay? That includes your Florida people, too. Everybody from the Southeast. Okay? Southeast. How about clear up the East Coast? Continue up the East Coast. Okay? Thank you. All right. And how about the Midwest? Great Lakes, you Great Lakes people. Woo, yeah, go RTA. Good group. Good group. All right, awesome. Thank you very much. All right, Southwest Texas. Okay, awesome. We have a good group in Southwest Texas. We appreciate you being here. How about the West Coast? West Coast, California, Idaho, Washington, all you people up there, thank you very much. All right. And how about one more? Anybody outside the lower 48, I'll call it, the lower 48, okay? Got some Canadian, one from Alaska, got one from, where are you from, sir? Excuse me? Guam. Where's that at? Hey, way over there. How long did it take you to get here, David? About 20 hours. And I think Alaska, about 10 hours. So let's hear for these people. You see how the software affects the world. We want to make a positive impact, but we want to help you make a positive impact that you have there. They're holding up my 5-minute sign. I guess I better get going. All right. Every one of you have success stories. I want to share a few with you, and I hope you'll share more with us. I know Lene and Mary have got set up to do some videoing, and I hope if you have success stories that you share them with us, but I want to share a few with you. Amanda, are you here? Go ahead and stand up, Amanda. I'm going to make you stand up. Okay. Fleet Services, Indiana University. They needed to have a better reporting. You can go ahead and sit down. Thank you very much. They needed to adopt a better reporting setup for RTA. They struggled to give fast access to reports. The only one who had access to custom crystal reports was the fleet manager. Some reports would only be printed monthly because it took her time to do that. So it was very difficult for them. They found that by using the RTA reports and exporting them to Excel gave them too much information, and they spent time removing that excess data. So they needed a solution for faster, quicker reports. The method they were using for their shared reports was too restricted. So they struggled to give fast access, and so what they did is they adopted the custom crystal reports viewer in RTA. What this did was this allowed multiple people to access those crystal reports. The team created custom reports that they could run in seconds as opposed to the hours they were spending removing the data and getting what they wanted. By rolling this out to the shop, it allowed the mechanics to run daily reports quickly, and it saved them the time of tracking down those errors in their parts receipts and parts reporting. Again, Indiana University, another issue they had, and this is kind of a neat one here. The Indiana University the Fleet Service was awarded for being green. What this is about is the university posed a sustainability challenge to all the departments to reduce their paper usage. The Fleet Services chose to adopt, they took on the challenge, and they chose to adopt paperless shop and also creating their reports in a PDF format rather than printing them. So by using the paperless shop with their work orders and adopting this PDF format for the reports, instead of printing those reports, they would email them to those managers as needed. Well, they eliminated 80% of their paper usage, and they won the challenge. The university awarded the team by planting trees on their campus in their honor. Great option. Thank you very much. Next one, Kern County. Some of you, or those of you who attended our CEO Fireside, heard a little bit of the story. But in 1995, Kern County's garage because of their archaic way that they track things, they had a problem. Their maintenance costs to their departments and maintenance prices were through the roof. The sheriff's department left taking 896 vehicles to find a more affordable solution. Their shop went from 23 employees down to 9 and was in grave danger of being closed. Larry, at the time, was the fleet. Larry Wirtz. Where you at, Larry? Wave your hand. Yeah. Larry Wirtz, at the time, was the fleet manager. He and his team reviewed several solutions to solve this problem and chose RTA. Larry said of the situation, with RTA, we realized in 2 minutes we figured it out how to run it. RTA has the shortest learning curve there is out there. And with RTA's, their customer service team, they were the top choice for them. And so they chose RTA. Well, their maintenance costs dropped. Their maintenance costs dropped. I got 1 minute. Their maintenance costs dropped. Within months, they cut their costs, and they even shortened their maintenance turnaround time to 3 days and became cost competitive. Within 5 years, their fleet expanded 112%, which resulted in a 30% increase in staff. Today, Dennis, where are you at, Dennis? Dennis over here is the fleet manager now. Today, they service over 1,200 assets. In 2001, Spectrum Consultant certified Kern County Fleet Services as cost competitive and satisfactorily managing their operations. Big hand. I'll do one last one because you're here. Ken Riley. Ken Riley, where you at? Ken Riley, right here. Ken Riley, Island Transit. Island Transit is located on an island in Washington State. Next day or express service to them is a minimum of 2 to 3 days and possibly even more. So because of that, with their inventory, they needed to keep an inventory, a stock of parts to prevent that extended downtime. This resulted in over 8,000 parts at a cost of $700,000 to their inventory. But the problem was it was time-consuming in doing the inventory. In fact, the inventory process took 2 people 14 days to complete. They chose to implement barcoding with RTA. In 2016-17, they bought tricoders, and they barcoded all of their parts and tires. Today, 95% of their inventory is barcoded and processed through the RTA. With the ease of barcoding tools, it now takes 4 or 5 staff members 1 day to perform inventory. Ken says of this experience, I don't know why anyone isn't using the barcoding tools. They save what they cost, they save in time savings and labor. Congratulations, Ken. All right, there's one more, and I'm going to pass by it. I apologize, City of Enumclaw, using the EFI. I tell people if I'm going to use RTA, the 3 things that I would focus on if I was going back to RTA, I would talk about EFI, electronic fueling interface. It saves time and no errors. City of Enumclaw, that's what they experienced. They did their fueling once a month. They did they input their fueling information once a month because it took so long. They averaged the fuel usage and cost. Well, this created all sorts of problems for them. But I tell people, EFI, barcoding, and paperless shop. Those 3 things, if you want to save your company money and time, those are 3 things. And then the warranty that comes with that. Folks, I appreciate your time. I'm going to skip past this one because I want to stay on our time frame. But we hope you'll share with us your case studies. Because with your case studies, we can show the world exactly what we're going to do. The next person I'd like to introduce to you is somebody who's fairly new to our company, but he's made big changes here. He's set up a roadmap for our technology. So without further ado, I introduce to you Doug Perks, our CTO.
All right. It's loud. Okay. Welcome to conference. I'm excited for you to be here. I'm excited to be here to be able to talk about some of the technology highlights, things we've done over the past year, things we've implemented, and then where we're going in the future. I'll share some roadmap information with you, share some things that we're working on right now that we're really excited about, that hopefully will excite you as well. First, I wanted to cover what we did in 2018. We introduced a lot of change. Like Jan said, we're driving towards this roadmap, this long-term roadmap of where we want to go, what we want RTA to do to help you be more successful. First thing that I'm going to talk about today is I'm going to talk about some of these enhancements that we've done. When I say enhancements, that's mostly to our current desktop software. Then I'll talk about our software as a service platform, which we've had amazing adoption from our customers because there's great value there. And we'll talk about some of the things that we've done there to make you more productive, make you more successful. And then finally, we'll talk about web and mobile and some of the things that have happened there and some of the things we've done to again, give you greater access to your software, greater access to your fleet information. First off, under enhancements, one of the first things that we did, and we announced this last conference, didn't release it till right after conference, are these new F1 lookups. So these F1 lookups essentially are, you all know, everyone who's used the software uses them probably every day. But this gives you the ability, if you're a SQL customer, to be able to control essentially what you view when you do these F1 lookups. So it gives you the ability to choose which columns you want to see. You can do kind of lightweight reporting with these F1 lookups. You can pick to do grouping and sorting and filtering of the data in a way that makes it easy for you to find what you're looking for. You can also print these out, so if you do really want to do some really lightweight reporting, you can print these out as well. The other thing you can do that we introduced kind of later in the year in 2018 was you can actually introduce add custom formulas. So if you want to do some lightweight calculations like you would do in Excel, you can also do that in the F1 lookups. So some pretty cool stuff there. Our team spent a bunch of time making sure that's a really great product for you to help you be more productive. Next thing we've done is we've spent a ton of time building standardized import and export. It used to be in the past that if you wanted to get data out of RTA and you weren't a SQL customer, you'd have to learn how to use SQL. Well, if you weren't a SQL customer, there really wasn't a way. RTA would have to write something custom for you to get data out. And if you did have SQL Server, then you'd have to get a developer who knows how to write SQL statements to pull this data out of RTA. Now you can easily export that data. Then you can, if you export it, then you can make some modifications to it and then re-import it. Or if let's say you get a batch of vehicles from your vendor and you want to just import those in, you can easily use the import functionality to import that data in. And so we have about 30 some odd different tables or objects that you can import into RTA and export out of RTA. So it's a great option if you want a way to just dump your data out of RTA and then massage it and play with it in Excel or some other system. You can do that with the imports and exports. Another thing that we've done, and this is one of the biggest feedback items that we've had over the years, from what I understand. Again, I'm still kind of new, but is spell checkers. It seems like it's something really simple. Yeah, we just need spell checkers. It turns out that it took some work, and that's why it never got implemented. But our team was able to get that out there for you. We now have spell checkers in all of our master notes. So any of your records that are in the master menu item inside of RTA, those all have the spell checker. And then we're continuing to work on those to get those rolled out to other places in RTA. Yes. Finally have a spell checker. And lastly, this is an enhancement that customers have been asking for a long time, is can I have a way to archive my vehicles so that they don't count against my license limits? And so we did that. So for all of our software as a service customers, we now have introduced the ability to archive your vehicles. So that essentially what that means is we designate one or more facilities as archive facilities. And then as you move your vehicles into that facility, they become read-only. So all the data is preserved. You don't lose anything. You don't have to delete it. So if you have to keep it for records management purposes or historical purposes, you can keep those those old vehicles or those old vehicle records around. They just moved into an archive facility. I think a large number of our customers use the concept of a sold facility or an archive facility already. And so this makes it very easy for you to just go in. If you're a software as a service customer, you can go in and just literally mark that facility as an archive facility. It does some checks to make sure there aren't any open work orders or PO lines or something else. I can't remember all the things we check. But it does some checks to make sure that you can actually mark this thing as archived. And as soon as you do that, all those vehicles can become read-only, and those get pulled off of your active vehicle license counts. So we're excited to have that out there. And these are just 4 of the enhancements that we've done over the past year. We'll continue to make slight modifications to the desktop software going forward so that we can continue to provide great value to you and to your staff. Next thing I want to talk about is hosting and software as a service. So last year we introduced at conference our new software as a service model. Essentially what this means is RTA moves from a purchased software product to a piece of software that you subscribe to. You get continuous updates. RTA provides all the hosting and management, backups, high availability, business continuity stuff. We provide all of that for you so that you and your IT department don't have to worry about it. We know it's always a challenge, especially with fleets, because a lot of times fleet is kind of the bottom of the barrel from a technology standpoint in terms of your access or your, essentially your IT department's importance on their importance list, right? So we want to provide that service for you. We built the software. In my days when I worked for Microsoft, our customers would say, hey, you guys built the product. Why don't you just run it for us? And that model worked really great. As soon as Microsoft started running the products that we built, a couple things happened. The products improved. Because when Microsoft has to run their own stuff for our customers, we realize all the problems that we have and we fix them faster. And that's certainly been the case here with RTA running the software as a service platform. As we run it ourselves, we realize, oh, there's an issue here, something that could make your lives easier or starts making our life harder. And so we want to fix those things as soon as we can. And that ends up with a better product for you. So a couple things that we introduced as part of software as a service is we made a lot of changes. One of the things is some new access options. So if we look at this slide here, this is a web browser. It's showing the RTA application. You can just go in and now access RTA just through a web browser. So again, this is just Google Chrome. You can go and click on RTA and run the full RTA application through the web browser. So that one's pretty cool. The other thing that we've added is you can now access the full RTA application on a tablet. In fact, I was sitting at breakfast this morning, and Justin was talking to sorry, I forgot your school district. Carroll, thank you. was talking to the guys from Carroll ISD. He's like, hey, I love RTA. You guys should see Paperless Shop. And so he opens up his iPad, connects to our software as a service environment, flips it around, and starts showing Carroll ISD the cool tools in Paperless Shop directly from his iPad. So that's pretty cool. So this is what it looks like on an iPad. You can come in, you see the full RTA desktop. Now, obviously, it's not optimized for a tablet, but it runs really well on a tablet. Especially if you have an external keyboard and mouse, it's really like the full RTA desktop. If you do want to use the on-screen keyboard, this is kind of what it looks like. You just pop up the keyboard, you can type in there and start using it from a tablet. The other things that we've introduced in our software as a service environment is we've introduced a lot of security and reliability features. These are some changes over the past year, those of you that had been hosted previously, you recognize that we did some data center migrations, and we apologize for any inconvenience that was, but they were positive changes that puts us in a much better position to serve you going forward. So now we have more security capabilities, more scalability capabilities. We can grow much faster. We can increase the size of our environment to meet your needs much easier than we could in the past. And it's all, we still run all your data isolated, so we're not mixing and matching data between our customers. We keep it all separate so that your data is secure and it's yours. And if you need it at any time, we can get it to you. The last thing that we've introduced over the past year is a new, and we kind of soft launched it to a few customers who were asking for it. We haven't widely publicized it, so this is really the first chance I get to talk about it. We've introduced a secure open API. What an API is it allows programmers like me and my team to develop applications or customizations or integrations that RTA doesn't build. So if you have someone on your staff who likes to write scripts or likes to write code, or you know someone or you hire someone, they could start using our API to access data. Now, our API isn't fully built out yet. What's going to happen is over time, we're going to continuously be adding new features into our API, but it will allow you to see what's available, to access your data, not only read, but you can actually use our APIs to write data into RTA. An example, if I go back to the vehicle purchasing, let's say you purchase a bunch of vehicles, you could either have your vendor, if you give them access, or one of your own developers write something that could start injecting or pushing that vehicle information up to RTA using our APIs. The great thing about the APIs, as opposed to directly writing to SQL, which we hope you don't do on a normal basis, but the great thing about our APIs is they adhere to all our business rules, all of the security that is set up in RTA, that all goes through our APIs so that you know that what you're doing it correctly. Okay? If you want more information about the APIs, you can just go to developers.rtafleet.com. There's some information about how to request access to it, how to use it, and then how to get the full documentation for our APIs. And like I said, they're going to continue to grow over time, and we'll try to continue to inform our customers as we introduce new APIs so that you can know that those things are available. Oh, and if you want to see the APIs in action, come to the web and mobile session that we've got both today and on Friday, and we'll talk in more detail both about the APIs and obviously about web and mobile as well, which is the next slide. So web and mobile, last year we introduced kind of this concept of dashboards. It was our very first foray into the mobile space. And so we have this mobile dashboard app. In this case, you can take, what happens is we take your dashboards that you've already configured in RTA Desktop, and we make those available to you on a mobile device. So web and mobile are applicable to all of our hosted SQL and software as a service customers. If you have questions about why or other ways you could do that, come talk to me in the web and mobile session or grab me some other time. I'm happy to talk about it. But what we have here with dashboards is, in this case, let's say we click on vehicles. We can see the vehicle list here, and it does drill down. So if you want to drill down from vehicles into, let's say we want to click on downtime stats, you can click on that, and then you can see the full downtime stats for your fleet. So again, those are all the same dashboards that you've already configured on RTA Desktop. We're just making those available to you in the mobile application. In fact, I don't remember who it was, but someone on Monday was talking about, hey, they love to go in and have the mobile app when they go into like a business meeting where they have to talk about vehicle or fleet costs and things like that, and they'll just pull it up, drill into their dashboard, and see really quick, they can see their cost information for their fleet. The second thing that we've added The second thing that we've added into our mobile application, and we've also added on web, and I'll show that in a second, is both a parts lookup feature and inventory adjustments. So this would be, the use case here is if you go out into your shop and you need to just make a quick inventory adjustment, you can use the mobile app to do that. What we're doing here is we're taking advantage of your mobile device's camera, and using the camera, we can scan a barcode, or you can manually search. But the barcode scanning is really convenient. So you can scan a barcode. Once you scan a barcode, then it'll pop over to this screen that shows you basic information about that part. From here, you can queue labels to be printed. So if you want to print some labels, real quick, you're walking around the shop and you're like, oh, I need 5 more labels of this. Scan that barcode real quick with the camera on the phone. Say, I need to add 5 more labels. You can add a new vendor reference to this part. And you can also go in here and you can start editing the bin numbers. If you're realizing, oh, we need to rename these bins, you can do that. The other thing you can do is you could edit the description if you want to. And I'll just go to the next slide. And obviously, I said inventory adjustments, so we need to be able to adjust the quantity of inventory. So this adheres to all the same rules that we have in RTA, our desktop application. You have to provide, depending on your system switches, who authorized the change, the reason for the change. If you're increasing the quantity, it's going to ask you to provide an average cost, or the cost of the part that you're adding, the parts that you're adding. And then you save that, and it just adjusts automatically in the rest of RTA, just like any other inventory adjustment. We also have this available on the web. So on our RTA web application, which is at app.rtafleet.com, same thing. You can do a search for a part. The only difference is if you want to scan a barcode, you just need a barcode scanner as an input device on your computer. But once you do that, you can come in and do the same thing. You see the same information that you saw on the mobile application is available on the web app. Can come in, adjust inventory, provide a reason and authorization to do that, along with the cost of the part that you're adding or removing. Okay? So that's on the web. The other thing that we've introduced over the past year is these new user management features. So in the past, if you're a software as a service or a hosted customer and you needed to add or remove a user, you had to call RTA support and say, I need to add Joe. Okay, what's Joe's name, his first name, last name? What do you want his password to be? And we know his password, and I don't like that because that's a security problem. And so what you can do now is we've added all those capabilities into the RTA web application. So when you're a hosted or SaaS software as a service customer, you can come in, add your own users. We give you full capability to control what permissions they have. And what this does is it gives them the ability to now log on to what is called remote app, which is how we connect to the desktop software. And I have just a quick video of what this might look like. So you come in, click on admin. You can see the list of users here. You can click on a user. You can see some basic user information about them. And in the web and mobile session, I'll talk a lot more about some of the capabilities here and the reasons why you need to use this and how this differs from setting up users inside the RTA desktop application, because we kind of still live in those two worlds at this point. So what I want to talk about now is what are we working on? I know a lot of you are interested. We've had several customers come up and say, what are you guys working on? What are you doing? What's your roadmap? And I keep telling people just wait till Wednesday. It's Wednesday, so I guess I have to spill the beans. So what are we working on right now? And then I'll get into what are we working on next and what's kind of our longer-term roadmap. Well, we talked about spell checker. We're finishing that up. I know you guys want it. The place you want it most is work orders and paperless shop. It's like this close, almost done. We'll be releasing that very soon. And so that'll be available to everybody very soon. The other big change that we're going to roll out, we're working on right now. In fact, our developers that aren't here are actually working on this right now. is some new user licensing options. Today, the way that we license RTA is we ask you either how many users, especially on the software as a service side, we either ask you how many users you have or how many vehicles you have. And if you're an on-premises customer hosting it yourself, we ask you both, how many users and how many vehicles. But that's all we ask you. And we don't give you a lot of options. So if you, what we want to provide, and as part of this software as a service model, the software as a service model is a named user model. So everyone who accesses RTA needs a user account. And so the problem with that is someone who, like a fleet manager, costs the same as a driver. I just need to get in there a couple times a week or maybe once a day real quick. I just need to enter my driver report. And so what we're introducing is a new licensing model where we will support a full user license, which is what the fleet managers have, maybe the parts manager and shop foreman, that type of stuff. But then we're adding some new license types. We're going to add a mechanic license type, which would be essentially a paperless shop license. So all they can do is access paperless shop. They can't access anything outside of RTA. This is designed to save you money, so you don't have to purchase full user licenses for someone he's a mechanic, and that's all he does, or she. We're going to introduce a driver license that would literally be the ability to do driver reports, driver inspections, and that's about it. And then we're going to add a new license type called a reporting user, and I'll talk about why in a minute. And that would essentially just give a user access to reports. This would be a case where you have maybe a user in one of your departments that you support that just needs to get access to maybe a fueling history report for their department. Okay? And again, those licenses, the mechanic, driver, and report user licenses would be less expensive than the full user license. So that's coming. We don't have prices yet. We're still working on it. Like I said, this is what we're working on right now. I just wanted to let you guys know. The last thing we're working on, well, it's not the last thing. We're working on lots of stuff. But one of the other things that we're working on that I'm actually really excited about, we talked about it last year, but we didn't know how we're going to implement it yet. And it's a new reporting solution. Now, I know some of you guys were just in a Crystal Reports class. That's going to stick around, okay? Don't be afraid that's going away. But what we're introducing is a new web-based reporting tool. So as part of our RTA web application in our software as a service environment, now we're going to have a new web-based reporting solution, so you don't need to go out and buy a Crystal license and have extensive training on how to design the reports in Crystal. It's really going to be a drag-and-drop interface to allow you to start doing some really cool things with reporting. Just to give you an idea of what this looks like in our web application, again, this is coming really soon. Well, actually, before I go there, there's several ways to do reporting. The very first thing that we're going to release is something we're going to call ad hoc reporting, which is a way for you to come in and just do really quick, what we call exploratory data analysis. So if you need to just go in and say, oh, quick, I just need a really quick list of all the vehicles for Department B, okay? You can go in and do some filtering, sorting, get you a list, do some really quick formatting. If you need to group the data and show some simple calculations, those are the kind of capabilities we're initially releasing. Again, you don't need to launch a Crystal Report Designer. It's just an easy way to go in and do this. What will be coming later, and we'll talk about it more, especially in the web and mobile session, is we're going to talk about some advanced report designers, some dashboards, some other capabilities that will be coming a little bit later on as we figure out, okay, how are we going to allow you to save these custom reports and store this stuff. But it's a really great tool. So I just want to show you a quick demo what this might look like. So you would come in to the web application and click on Reports. That's going to start loading our new RTA report tool. You can come up here and click this thing called Express View, which is our ad hoc reporting tool. And then you see on the left a whole list of entities or objects that you can drag onto this reporting surface. So if I come in and I expand my work order section, I can open up the work order transaction date and say, I want to see everything for a particular year or month. So this would be like 2019-03. And then I need to filter that data based on a particular date range. So I drag this filter column over to the right, and we have these really cool expressions that you can do so that the next time you pull the report, it's a relative date. So it's always, in this case, I missed what I put on there, like the first day of last year, or the first day of the last quarter, or the first day of the last month. Then I can come in and drag, let's say, this calculated column called the extended price column onto this. I can do some grouping by year, month. And you see that I don't really see data yet, but pretty soon we'll see data. We can switch to something called a live view. But what I want to do is I don't want to see a count of how many transactions happened. I want to see the sum of that extended price. So I can group on that, provide some filtering down in the bottom right. I can now provide formatting of the data. And then I'll click on that live data button. What's going to happen here is I'll see the real live data in the database. Depending on the amount of data you're pulling, it could take a while. So in this case, we can see kind of this year month. We see the sum of all the transactions that happened that month. But that's not really helpful because it doesn't help me make any decisions, right? Unless I really want to dig through the data. So I can easily add a chart, format the chart the way I want it, make it look really pretty, do all the formatting I want. That's okay. I don't really love the colors because I don't know. So we can come in, change to a different theme on the chart just like you could in Excel. And then if you want to save this, if I'm remembering right. So if you want to save this, you can come in, save this report. You'll have a specific folder that you control that you can save your reports in and share those across your company. And so maybe this is my warranty savings since a particular date. I don't know that that's actually the data I put in there, but so you can save this to your report folder, and then you can come in later and view this data again. So this is kind of a preview of our new reporting tool. So, and I guess the other thing it has is it's got export options. So if you wanted to then export that report to a PDF or to Excel or to a Word document, you can easily do that. And you've got that same chart and all that same data if you've chosen to include the data as well. So that's a preview of our new reporting solution. Does this be useful? Okay, good. I'm really excited. Josh and I did what we call our Ship It project last year, was this kind of data visualization thing. We weren't quite ready for that. I think there are some issues there, and we found a way to do it that works really well with our environment and keeps your data still isolated and separate and secure, but giving you really good access to do this all online on the web. What's coming next? Oh, you just saw it. Okay. First thing that we're doing, and I mentioned this new license type called a driver license. Sounds funny, driver's license. We're going to have this driver's license that we're going to sell. As part of that, we'll include our new driver reporting solution that we're building for our mobile app. So as customers come in, they'll be able to just open up their mobile app if they're sitting in their vehicle. Instead of going into the shop onto the kiosk, they could be sitting in their vehicle. They could do their driver report right there, or as they're walking around the vehicle, enter their driver report information right there. So that's coming. That's coming to our mobile device. The next thing that's going to come to the web is we're going to start moving all of work orders into our web application. Again, to give you greater access to that information, you'll be less bound to a particular device. You could run this just through any web browser. The nice thing about the web app is it also works great on a tablet. And so if you want to use an iPad or an Android tablet, you'll be able to do that through the new RTA web application. You can also run the mobile app on a tablet. But the mobile app is really specifically tailored to a mobile device. Okay? The larger form factor of a tablet really makes it so that you can run the full web application, have greater capabilities there. And the other thing we're working on throughout the rest of the year, one of the other things that we're working on, this is all coming hopefully this year, is we're going to be working on our core reports. So we're going to start migrating a lot of RTA core reports into our new RTA reporting solution. So they're all web-based, accessible to everybody, give you really good control. The great thing about as we do this is if you want to take one of our reports and modify it, you can make a copy of it and start tweaking it as much as you want through this new web-based RTA reporting solution. What are we working on later? So what's going to happen over the next, as we complete the things that we're working on now and next, I'm not giving dates just because software developers are really bad at giving dates. We're going to be working on all of our master records. We'll start converting those master records into the web application. Where appropriate, we'll move things into the mobile application. But most of our master records will be focused on the web application, moving all that data over there. The other thing we'll be doing is these advanced custom reports. So as you guys have custom reports that you've written, and then RTA has custom reports that we've written, we'll have a way to for you to build those reports in the new RTA reporting solution. Okay, with the advanced report designer. Also included in there is the ability to create dashboards. And these are more like data visualization dashboards where you could see charts and graphs of your fleet configured how you want it to see your data, similar to the dashboards today, but in a much more visual manner. Then the last thing we're going to be introducing is the fuel log. So this would be a kind of like quick fuel entry in RTA Desktop today, but on a mobile application, which would allow your drivers to quickly input fueling information, odometer readings, the cost of the fuel, the amount of gallons, that type of thing. Okay, so that's coming. Are we on the right track? Everybody good with this? I mean, and I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say it like facetiously. I can't even say that word. I really mean it. I really want to know if we're on the right track. So, and the reason why I say that is because everything we do is to make you better, right? And I'm not joking. Josh talked about the why. Why am I in the industry that I'm in? Is because I love to build solutions that make people better and more productive. That was why I got into the career that I'm in, so I can make people better. And so we want your feedback. We need it. I want to know how I can help you. What are your pain points? What are areas that you struggle with in your business that you don't even know if software can help? Can we help you? I want to. I really, really want to help you. My team is passionate about solving customer issues through software. And we know we can do it. We've done it for 40 years, which is, to me, it's just amazing. I can't think of another piece of software except for maybe like Microsoft Office that people use so frequently and for such an extended period of time because it makes such a big impact on your lives. There were people using it for 25, 30 years. That's crazy. It's awesome. I love it because it makes a positive impact on your lives. I'm excited to be a part of this journey. I want to learn more. I want to talk to you. I want to understand your pain points. I want to know how RTA can help you. All the things that I talked about, well, now is we're kind of working on the stuff that I talked about now, but next and later, you guys can change it. You can change that all you want. The way you change it is by providing us feedback, talking to us, giving us your stories, helping us understand how we can help you, how we can help you be better fleet managers, better mechanics, better parts managers, whatever, right? We want to build software that improves your life. And I'm so thankful that I can be a part of this story, that I can help you by building cool solutions. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Josh to kind of finish us up for the day, or the morning.
All right, how about another round of applause for Doug and his team and everything they're doing? Can't tell you how excited I was when I brought him on last year. That was a big moment for us. You know, we'd never had necessarily somebody who was super technology focused like he had been, and really helping us discover what we were capable of. And really helped give us the focus to drive towards this excellence, to really drive towards implementing your feedback. And a lot of the changes you've seen at RTA since, just really in the last 12 months, 18 months, in a large part has been driven because of the influence that Doug has had on this company and the fingerprints that he's been able to put on it. So thank you to Doug and your team and everything you've been doing. Thank you. So I want to leave you with some last thoughts here before we close out our keynote, and talk about some of the lasting impacts that we can have. And one more client success story that I felt really strongly about, that I really wanted to share with everybody. Where are my two guys from Arizona Department of Corrections? Why don't you guys stand up here real quick? All right. So Guadalupe and Pete from Arizona Department of Corrections. Thanks, guys. Their boss Rick couldn't be here, but this is really a team effort that they're working on. They've introduced this Fleet 100 program. Governor Ducey, how long ago was it? A year or two ago? He's made this a big part of his initiative, is that he wants to reduce recidivism within the prison ranks, right? And so right now in the U.S., it's something like 75% of inmates nationally, when they get released from prison within 5 years, they're going to be back. Chew on that for a second. 75%. They get released, they're going to come right back within 5 years. In Arizona, that stat's a little bit lower. I think we're about 39% within a year or two, and then it climbs up a little bit within 5 years. But what does that mean? It means that a lot of them, after they get out, it's difficult to find a job. It's difficult to find employment, right? Not a lot of people want to hire an ex-convict. So how do you help them? Because when they get back out there in that real world and they can't provide and they can't find the means to survive, what do? They go back to what they know. They go back to that life of crime, and they end up back in jail. It's a cycle that can't be broken on their own. Right? Some of them have the ability to do that, but 75% is a very telling statistic, and it's a huge deal. How do we fix it? So Governor Ducey out in Arizona says, this is a goal of mine. I want to reduce recidivism. I want to, when they get back out into the world, I want to make sure they stay out in the world. We want to make sure the prison's actually working, that they get out and they can go make a difference in their lives. They want to make a positive impact in the community and give back to the community. You think about some of these people that end up paying for their crimes over and over again because they served their time and they couldn't make it work when they got back out. They couldn't find a job because the community wasn't welcoming them back in. Arizona Department of Corrections sat out, and they had this idea. They wanted to train and teach people skills they needed that would help them find that job so that they didn't come back. They have in the Department of Corrections, they manage a fleet of, how many vehicles are you guys tracking right now, Lupe? 2,500 vehicles. This is vans, heavy equipment, you name it, they're tracking it. And the idea was, especially with the technician shortage that they run into, they decided to bring these inmates into the maintenance shop and start teaching these inmates how to work on a vehicle, how to fix some of the vans that they have. And they started using the inmates as their technicians. I think the criteria is they're nonviolent. They've got 2 to 3 years left on their sentence. So they have 2 to 3 years to work under this tutoring program, under this Fleet 100 program, to get the skills they need. The idea being is that when they leave prison, they are armed with a report that shows that exactly what they worked on, the skills they acquired while they were there, and they can go into a dealership, they can go into a shop operation and make a difference. They have something to do, they have somewhere to go, they have something to give back to society. What I need is you. We need people who are willing to step up and who think that they might be able to offer that net, who might be able to catch them as they come out of that prison system, who need mechanics because we are facing a technician shortage, and we're looking to help build a network of people who might be able to help. People who might, in your situation, you might have to run this through legal, you might have to run it through HR, we understand that, but if in your departments you don't see an issue with having a nonviolent criminal coming back, they've paid their time, they've done their sentence, and this is their first, these are first-time offenders as well. They don't get a second shot. If they go back into prison, this program's not on the table for them. So they know they can't slip up. They've shown that they can work in this program for 2 to 3 years, because if they have a slip up while they're in the program, they're also out. So it's a very high standard that they have to meet while they're there. What I need is to know is who can help us? Who can help build this network? Who can we turn to? And I look to our network and I say, we have over 1,100 clients. Surely there's got to be somebody out there who can help us with this and help Arizona Department of Corrections and really help these people, because they are people, they are human, and they need help. So what I want to do is, by show of hands, just real quick, you're not committing to anything, but how many people think that they might be able to make a difference in these kind of lives? All right, that's kind of what I thought it would be. If you're willing to look into it, you don't have to commit to anything right now, but just write down your name on that feedback form. Say, I'm interested. I'm interested in participating in this. I'm interested in looking into it and researching what this would be like. This is something that we could help with. I know that we would appreciate it. I know Rick and his team would greatly appreciate it. These are good people. They simply made a mistake, and they're paying for it again and again. I want to be able to help, and I'd like to be able to have you help as well. So if you could commit to that, I really would appreciate that. How about a big hand for Lupe and his team? All right, lastly, can I have my CAB member stand up, everybody who is part of my client advisory board for 2019, or 2018, I guess? I can give you guys a big hand. All right, you can sit down. Thank you guys very much. The client advisory board was something we launched 2 years ago. This is now we went through 2 years of it. This is going to be the 3rd year. And the idea was, every year we'd come to conference and we loved it because we'd interact with you. We get to have conversations. We get feedback on features. Hey, what do you think about this feature? What do you think about this feature? And we loved it. It was the best part about conference. But it was once a year. And so we would work on stuff for an entire year and then get a whole bunch of feedback on it and realize, wow, we were supposed to be over here and we're off the map. So once a year wasn't quick enough. So we brought about this client advisory board to get feedback quicker. And so every 2 months, I think it's on the second Wednesday, we have a 90-minute phone call with about 5 to 15 individuals from different clients, different diverse backgrounds, everything. And what we're looking for is that feedback. We show them new features. We have some of that product development conversation. We ask them about conference all the time. And these are really entertaining. They're very fun discussions. I enjoy. These are some of my favorite calls that we have at RTA. And so what I'm doing right now is we've just closed out our 2018 CAB year, and we're starting again for 2019. A big round of applause. Thank you guys for the CAB 2018 members. But what I'm looking for is who would like to participate on the 2019 CAB. If you're interested in being a part of that phone call, being a part of that ongoing discussion that we have, beyond what you see on the feedback site, to actually have and see the sneak peeks, participate, provide feedback, and say, I really like what this is doing, but we need this feature. A lot of the things that you guys saw, the F1 lookups, the spell checker, the mobile app, CAB was involved in that heavily and helped steer us in the right direction to make sure we didn't miss something, because trust me, we miss stuff all the time, especially with our first assumptions coming out of the gate. And then somebody will bring up a point, well, what about this? And how is this going to affect that problem? Oh, we didn't think about that. And so having you and your voice on that call is extremely important to us. And so if you'd like to be a member of that client advisory board, write that down on your eval, put down your name, put your email. We'd love to have you on there. We'll be selecting that. The first call will be in May, and we'll let you know if you've been selected for it. Again, we look somewhere between 10 to 15 clients on that call, and they really are a terrific experience, and I hope that you'll join us on those. All right, a couple last things. Evening tonight, bus pickup. We're going to be going to Epcot. Going to be enjoying the park. Going on any of the rides you want to. You've got a $30 meal voucher. You can go and spread that around the different world in the World Showcase. Go enjoy the wine tour if you want to do that. The evening will culminate. Sorry, I'm going to start with where we're going to start. We're going to start picking up at the hotel. There's a bus pickup. Remind me where it is. It's downstairs. It's not the lobby, is it? Out the lobby and to the right. There's a bus pickup for, and that'll start at 4:45. We'll have 4 charter buses out there, and we'll be shuttling everybody over to Epcot. You'll have in your little pouch the evening pass, the 5 p.m. pass, as well as your $30 meal voucher to any Disney location. In the mobile app that Jan talked about, there's a photo scavenger hunt. We want you to participate. There's a whole bunch of little things in there that you can check off your list, and as you participate in that scavenger hunt, you'll earn extra chances at raffle drawings in the following keynotes that we have. So participate in the scavenger hunt. Use the mobile app. If you haven't downloaded already, download it. And get signed up in there and start participating in that conversation. At the end of the night, the Illuminations Pyrotechnic Show will go on. It'll start right at 9 p.m. when the park closes. It's really an awesome show. It goes on for about 15 minutes. And then at the conclusion of that show, we'll have our bus running from 8:30 till about 10 o'clock at night. If you want to return anytime before that show, you can use either the hotel shuttle or you can use the Disney Springs shuttle that'll take you over to Disney Springs, and you can walk back. Those shuttles run about every 30 minutes or so. Our bus will be there at 8:30 to pick everybody up through 10 o'clock. So if you want to stay for the show, if you want to leave a little early, you have some options there. I'd highly recommend staying for the show. It really is a wonderful spectacular. With that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who's here. Thank you for the support you've given us and just for being here. You have no idea how much it means to me to be able to sit at lunch and have conversations with you, to connect and realize where we have made an impact, and then to realize where we can have an even deeper impact. So I want to thank you guys for being here. Please give yourself a round of applause. All right, and there's one more thing. Uh-oh. I want to introduce the RTA mobile app. Doug shows this. We're going to be releasing Paperless Shop coming up. All right, so this is something we've been hard at work on, getting Paperless Shop ready for release. This is going to be coming out quickly. The idea here is that we want to empower mechanics. We want to make sure that they have the right tool for the right job at the right place. We want to make it easier to clock in. They can clock in on any of their devices. We want to make sure they have a nice streamlined view of their assigned jobs, that it's easy for them to work through the process of Paperless Shop and not try to fight through it. We wanted to give them the ability to view their past shift history so they could see when they clocked on and clocked off. And the last thing, this is still in development, but we estimate that we should be within about 6 weeks of delivering the first iteration of this. All right. The last caveat of that is that we're starting with time tracking. We're starting with the labor side because that's obviously what Paperless Shop was meant to track first. So it is time tracking only right now. You might ask, well, why release it before you can post parts? Why release it before you can do, clocking, doing a quick work order or something like that? And it's because we want to get it into your hands quicker. One of our philosophies, one of our core values is ship it. We get something to where it's good enough, and then we ship it, because if it's not in your hands, you can't provide us the feedback that we need. and we can't make sure that we're on the right track, that we didn't miss something that would affect something else down the road. So we're putting it out into your hands because we need that feedback. As soon as that's out, you'll get an email notification. Please download it, try it, play with it. Tell us what we got right, tell us what we need to change. And then as more updates come out in the future, you'll see those show up as well. But let's check it out. Okay, so the technician will click on to paperless shop. At this time, they'll be presented with a very simple screen. They can start the shift. You'll see this is their time clock, what they're currently clocked onto. And it's as simple as they're going to hit start shift. They're already logged into the mobile device, so they don't have to log in again like they would on a desktop. But at this time, they're presented just like the old RTA desktop paperless shop menu. They'll be able to select a job. All right, so it's very, very simple, very easy to understand where I need to go next. I want to make it intuitive. I'm going to go ahead and click on Start or Select a Job. And at this point, I can look through my list of assigned jobs. I can see my list of direct jobs. I can scroll down through this list. I can tab over, look at my indirect jobs, and clock on to say something like shop cleanup or doing fueling or a paid break. And then let's say that I want to go ahead, I'm going to clock on. All I have to do is press the play button on that right-hand side of the job I want to start. And now it's going to start tracking my time. My paperless shop screen shows that I've got, how long I've been on my shift, and then what the job that I'm currently on is showing. I'll be able to see all the details, like the line notes, paperless shop notes, coming up. But right now we wanted to be able to, I just need to clock onto that job and start my clock. These work seamlessly as a companion app to the desktop app. So you don't have to use one or the other. You can use the mobile device to clock on, and when you pop over to your desktop, it's already showing that you're clocked on. They work and they're integrated seamlessly. Let's say that I finished that job. I'm going to go ahead and stop my time on it. And then I have to decide, is the job done? Is it complete, incomplete? We'll say this job is incomplete. I'll fill in my wage if I have that switch turned on. Type in my meter reading. Set my vehicle status. Again, this comes straight out of RTA, so it really is a companion app to the desktop, as well as maybe set my work accomplished code here. Now at this point, I've stopped the time on the job. I need to decide what's next. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start my lunch. I've only been working for 50 seconds, but I'm hungry. I'm always hungry. Right? Now at this point, it shows I'm at lunch. I can come back in and end my shift today, but I'm going to come in, I'm going to select another job. As soon as I do that, I'm going to get presented that same list again. And this time I'm going to click on my emissions inspection job, press play to start the time, and I've clocked in. Very quick, very easy. Select the job, press play, and you're in. You notice that we got rid of a lot of the back and forth dialogues that pop up. We found there was a lot of friction there in the paperless shop, and so we're trying to eliminate that friction, make it easy. Okay, from here I'm going to stop my time. Maybe this job is complete. Set my wage. I'm going to put my meter reading again. All right, go through again, set my status, set my downtime status. The suspense is killing everybody. They want to know what's going to happen next. After I hit that, I'm going to go ahead and press end shift, and I'm going to stop my time. Right, so I've clocked off now for the end of the day. I can pop over, I can look at my time cards, and I can see all the shifts that I've previously been working on. I can see how long I was there, how long I took for lunch, and I can make sure that, hey, did I clock off yesterday? I can look at the time card and it'll show me yes or no. I can see where I'd clocked in. All right, how many people are excited for mobile paperless shop? All right, so this has been a big project. There's a lot to this project. It's one of those pieces, it's like an onion. You keep peeling back layer upon layer, but we are so close. We're making so much more progress than we've made in the 5-10 years prior to this. It's going to be amazing, and I really hope that as you get it into the hands of your technicians, as you use it and you play with it, that you can give us a lot of feedback. We are going to have an RTA Future Development session. There's also going to be a web and mobile session. Please come, give us your feedback. If you have questions, that's the perfect place to provide questions. Stop us in the halls, anything like that. again, I'm almost out of time here, but please give us your feedback. It really does make a difference to us. It makes a difference in where we go. We do this for you. And we need to know what you want us to do, where you want us to go, because you really are. We do this all for you. And so I hope you guys understand that and really can feel that. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you so much for being here.